everyone, and welcome to this week's Geek Down. Yeah. Again, back with our usual cast of characters. We have John David Rivera.
Hello, good to be back.
He's going to let us know about his experience in the desert this weekend.
Indeed.
We have Bobby Dean Avila.
Women wham wham wazzle.
Okay. That's a
unique
one.
You got a whole week to prepare that.
Yeah. Come on. We have Adam Barajas.
I don't know how to top women wham wham wazzle.
That's right.
And then your good old host, Garfias.
Introduce our guest, man.
Okay, take it easy. And our special guest joining us, I don't know how much he'll contribute. We'll see how much he decides. Jeremy, say hello.
Hello.
There you go. That's what we
I'm a
wanted.
very shy guy. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay.
It's all good, man. Good to have you in here.
Thank you.
Nice. Got plenty of going on this week. We had a lot of fun this weekend, and we'll definitely talk about all stuff that it's very much things that we enjoy that are very geeky. But the first thing we want to see just how crazy Daniel Craig, 150 million for 2 more Bond films. That just seems crazy.
Well, it seems like just a month ago they had said they had offered him 100 mil, and then I guess they said, "Fuck that, we'll throw another 50 mil at you."
I mean, is he really that amazing at being
Fuck
James
Daniel
Bond?
Craig.
I mean,
Yeah,
Any actor that complains about a role where they get paid $20 million and do shit that every other actor in the world wants to play,
And it's
fuck
not.
you.
It's not just any character. I mean, you're James Bond, arguably one of the coolest characters in movie history. You know, you get to drive cool vehicles, sleep with so many women, and you shoot guns. It's a cool role. I mean, yeah, maybe he's thinking, oh, I don't want to be stuck doing, or only thought of doing that role. But at the end of the day, if you're providing this much entertainment and you're playing a kick-ass fucking role, there's nothing to be complaining about. Like, he needs to let the ego go.
that helicopter you hear in the background is Daniel Craig coming in.
Nah.
No, I think in terms of the Bond movie, the last 4 Bond movies, the last 4 that Daniel Craig have been in, I think he's 2 for 4. I mean, Casino Royale and Skyfall, and then.
I didn't think Skyfall was like I fell asleep.
What?
Well, I think you're in the minority on that one.
Yeah.
But I think it's you know people consider Casino Royale and Skyfall to be in like the top 5.
I don't count Quantum against him. He was still awesome, and that was writer's strike Bond, so
That's a good point
it
too.
was like one draft, and they sent it to the film.
Did we all see the last movie? Or
Yeah, I like Spectre.
No, I
it wasn't
didn't see
great.
the
I
It
didn't say Spectre. No.
was fine.
No.
it's just fine.
Yeah.
Is it worth 150 mil over
For
2
2 more?
movies? It seems
I
ridiculous.
don't
Well, here's
think
the
so.
thing.
I
Like,
don't think so.
how does the general public view Daniel Craig as Bond?
Favorably.
Well,
Favorably, right?
I laugh at the whole general
Because
public
in the beginning,
anyway.
he
Because
didn't fit the initial look.
That's what
He
I'm
was
saying.
blonde, but then when the first movie came, it was like a fresh take on the James
On
Bond
Bond.
character.
And I'll
it
say
was
this.
gritty, more realistic, you know, and there was a divided crowd on that.
Give me Idris Elba.
well,
It was-
I think that's what it is though. It's
Just
it's,
Elba as
it's
the Green
not.
Lantern?
It's
I
not
don't
about
mind
the.
that at all.
I don't think it's about the general public's opinion of Daniel Craig. I think it's the studio's thoughts on the general public not accepting a new actor in the James Bond role. Because the fan favorite, which was Idris Elba, I mean, it seemed like that was going to be a slam dunk if the studio said, you know what, we're going to go with the fan favorite. Idris Elba is going to be your
Right.
first black James Bond, and he was going to kick ass in it.
Yeah.
But
I
what's
think-
the hesitation about?
3 of the 4 names that they could hire and that have been favored, and people who have said in the past that they wouldn't mind, that they'd like to play the role. Well, Idris has taken his name out, but Hiddleston,
Terrible.
I believe so too. I don't think that'd be a good casting. Hardy and Fassbender. Hardy or Fassbender would both you know, the people who watch these movies know these actors. They're both awesome actors, and I feel like they would get the same favorable treatment that Craig does. By
Fassbender, yes. Hardy, no. I
was
do not
thinking
understand
Hardy,
him in any of his movies. Always, you can't understand
That's-
him.
Oh, come
No.
on.
All right,
now
No,
you're just going too
No,
far.
he's
Okay.
every movie he's always mumbling in every one of his
Inception,
movies.
really?
Inception is not mumbling.
You gotta think bigger. That's his one line. And what else does he say in that movie?
Well, we just proved you wrong though. He has the capability of speaking in non-grunts.
Oh, he has one line that he practices and can enunciate that one line if he has enough time to practice.
You know
So
what?
I'm sorry.
That was a good enunciation of enunciate.
I don't think he can carry a Bond film. I'm sorry.
We're complaining about the way he pronounces things when you think, well, about the race versus Ross. We won't go.
Wait, I would
You're
want that
complaining.
Well,
but you
hold on.
deny.
First of all, if you're
You deny.
gonna bring up topics, you have to preface them.
No,
with a little
that's
explanation.
a different debate. But I don't think Hardy would be. I don't think he'd be a good.
I do agree with that too. I don't
agree.
see him as Bond.
I don't see him as Bond.
Not for the same reason.
Fassbender, I could, but he almost seems a little. How old is he?
Fassbender's acting.
He's younger than Daniel
See him
Craig.
as, I don't know.
I mean, obviously they went a different direction with Daniel Craig. Everyone wasn't sure, and it definitely was a backlash. And well, it was a lot of like the Jason Bourne movies were out at that time, and it was a lot more realism and grittiness, and he definitely brought that. But I mean, I thought the Pierce Brosnan, the Bond before him, I thought he was definitely, a lot of people loved him, even though honestly, I mean, how many good Bond movies did Pierce Brosnan make?
No.
Yeah.
But he made it
The
great.
world-
But
Not
he
yet.
himself as Bond was great. People loved him
Yeah.
as Bond, even though the movies that he was in as Bond
Right.
pretty much all sucked.
Yeah.
Like none of those movies are going to be top 10 for James Bond movies, but
Who's
he
your-
is considered one of the better James
Well,
Bonds.
who's your pick for?
See,
for
that's what I was
Bond?
about to ask. We could throw that out there. I don't know if
Could we do a fantasy pick? Someone we would like but hasn't.
I would like
Well,
to. I would like. I would.
like you just saw.
I would. I would
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
I would like to.
someone-
I would like to hear both the pick that you would if
And
you're a
your-
studio
just your
head,
favorite.
and who's your favorite, and who do you think will most likely get.
I'll go with who I think most likely first. I think it'll be Hardy. I think he is coming off a big movie that was really cool, even though he only basically grunts in it. But Mad Max, I mean, he was the name attached to, that franchise film, and it was awesome. Who I think would be an interesting and kind of like gutsy choice, and I think could really pull it off now that he's matured as an actor. Colin Farrell.
Wow.
And you would do like a
Did not
more
see that
Sean
coming.
Connery style
See
Bond,
that.
like seduction and intelligence more so than the physicality.
Well, I know someone here has a Colin Farrell beef. You do not like Colin Farrell, Bobby.
I don't have a good reason why. He just bugs me. Anything you say that's for him, that's fine. I've got nothing. It's there's just something about him I don't like, and it's completely irrational. I'm aware of it.
What is the reason? You just don't like him? That's it?
I
Doesn't
don't.
like it,
I
just
don't
doesn't
know why.
doesn't
I
connect.
don't know why. I can't. I don't buy into the hype. That's
You
it.
know, I think I was kind of on your team a while ago, but the last few movies I've seen him in, Saving Mr. Banks, which is that Mary Poppins one, he plays, an integral character in the story. And then The Lobster, which was one of the best films of this year. I don't know if anyone else has seen it.
That honestly could be it. I just haven't seen any of his recent.
In Bruges is
things.
one of my favorite
In
movies.
Bruges. Oh
And
my
he's
God.
amazing in that movie.
Yeah, you're right. Have you seen In Bruges? I think your opinion would change after
Yeah.
this.
And he
No,
was
that's probably it.
his Ray Velcoro in season 2 might not be good of True Detective, but he was a good part of that show.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah, no, he did a good job
was-
on that one. I definitely agree.
He did a lot with a little.
Right. So Colin Farrell and Tom Hardy.
I think Hardy will be the guy, but if I was running the studio, I would call Colin Farrell because I think he'd be a cool Bond.
I can see that.
Is he British? What is he? Is
No,
he
but you know
American?
what? A lot of the Bonds have not been British.
Well,
So that's really...
well,
that-
Well,
They're
at
just
le-
part of the
well,
UK,
at least
or-
across the pond, you know what
Well,
I'm saying? Like,
Connery
Yeah.
is Scottish.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig is Welsh. So
And then Roger Moore is...
no, it wasn't Roger Moore. There was someone else who was Australian.
Yeah, so I'm saying
So-
a British person hasn't actually... I don't think has played Bond.
I think was Brosnan Welsh as well. Or?
He was
Or
not...
is
He
that-
was not...
was Farrell American or?
Colin Farrell's Irish.
No, but it was Irish.
oh, he's
That's what I'm
Irish?
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Colin
Oh, okay.
It's not a big deal that he's Irish because they've already had like people who are not,
Understood.
British.
Bobby, what about you, man?
Studio. I think I would love to see Idris Elba. I think he would kill it as James Bond, and the fact that it's another like rebirthing of the franchise with a new Bond that is African American. I think that alone would bring in a bunch of audiences just to see if he'll succeed or not. And I think he has the acting chops to really back it up. He's a badass. You could swim the ladies.
I would have gone with you, but he's taken his name out of contention
Yeah.
like 3 times.
Oh, really?
That's why I didn't say.
Well,
it.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying like.
That's your fantasy pick now.
Yeah.
apparently.
So that's is that my fantasy or?
Well, I mean, it is a fantasy because he said he's not going to do it.
The 3 people that we know of are.
Who's the
are
other person then?
Well,
Fassbender, Hardy, and Hiddleston.
in the end, who's to say? I mean, what's his name? Daniel Craig's saying he's not going to do it, but after 150 mil, I mean, good lord, man, you never know. You never know what these guys are going to end up doing. This all could be negotiated.
I would actually. This may be controversial. I would actually be interested to see Benedict Cumberbatch as Bond.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I don't know. I'd be
skip
interested.
those Bonds.
I'd be interested to see that. I don't know why. I
I
really
don't think he has the look to be like this.
I don't know. They said that about
Suave super
they
spy.
said that about Craig.
I never
Oh,
said that
Craig,
about Craig.
Craig's was never. He's not good looking enough. It was he's blonde.
Well,
Yeah, that was
still, I
the
mean,
only
just
take.
little
Yeah,
things
that was-
It was
He
really
didn't
the
have-
hair
he didn't
more than
fit
the
that
actual
original
look of it.
I don't know. I think he could pull it off, and he definitely has the acting.
People
chops.
magazine had blonde Bond, and that was the big deal. It wasn't that he was. It was that he had blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was brown hair, brown eyes.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think he'd be an interesting, like, especially like watching the show Sherlock, and all of his other movies. He has the chops to do, especially after what was Into Darkness. He could do these action scenes. He's got the chops. He's more than capable. Yes, he's not like the most, in comparison to like all these guys, most manly guy, but he has the smarts. He has the suave.
He's weird looking, and he doesn't have that air of just that je ne sais quoi that the other Bonds have had.
I think he does.
It is
He's
strange to
different.
talk about a man's looks, but I do think he's a little too weird looking to be a James
He
Bond.
is.
man.
He is. But
That's how I
I
feel about Tom Hardy, though.
And he's never shown that he
Yeah,
could do.
Tom Hardy-
Tom
Tom Hardy, I don't think
and
looks
see, in
like
my
Bond.
mind, Tom Hardy, I kind of agree with that, but he's almost more gritty. He would be like one of like
Out of
the.
those,
He would probably be a
picks
vicious.
that are still in contention?
Well, who knows
Was
what's in
it-
contention.
What they've talked about is Hiddleston, Fassbender, and Hardy.
I think if we had, well, at least on my
And Henry
personal
Cavill,
opinion,
like a distant.
Yeah, let's
distant
see.
fourth.
Yeah, what's your pick?
I think within
Nah,
those
not
three, I would go with Fassbender. But, you
Be
know,
a smooth Bond.
yeah.
I could
but
see. I could also see him as Bond.
For me,
but,
like, I just don't see Hardy and Hiddleston carrying that, that aura that James Bond is.
I agree with Hiddleston.
Like, he doesn't, they not,
No, Fassbender. He said.
No, with Hiddleston being unable to carry that kind of air like in a Bond
I
movie.
just don't see him.
I like-
know, but you
I
know,
like-
every,
I don't see Hiddleston as Bond at all.
every Bond brings their own
Looks like a rat.
their own attitude. One is more for the ladies. Just to put one is more smart. One is more just pure action. So I don't know. I think that's one of the most interesting things when you're casting a new Bond is which area is gonna lean towards.
I think if you go like a ladies' man, suave, 1960s type of Bond, it would have to be an actor of the caliber of Fassbender, because you'd have to make it like a serious, dramatic, because people don't want that campy shit anymore.
Yeah,
it doesn't sell.
if the acting's not there, it's gonna seem.
And I don't see
silly.
Hiddleston being able to. He has never shown me that he's as good an actor as those other two.
I think my pick would be Fassbender. In all honesty, I mean,
if I had to choose between the three.
if I wanted to go for, if it was maybe 5 years ago when these Bonds are going to be competing with like the Bournes and stuff like that, and maybe and I'm a stupid studio head, I would say I want a vicious kind of Bond to go up against these action heroes, and I think that would be Hardy. But I'm kind of looking forward to maybe bringing a little more class back into the franchise. I would choose Fassbender. I mean, but a real fantasy pick would probably be Idris Elba. I would love to see Idris Elba.
I
in
think
that
he
role.
would really kill it.
Well, Garf, you're real quick, man. And we'll bounce from this topic.
I'm down with the Fassbender as well. I would like to go back to that kind of classy, the more
Debonair.
Yeah, exactly. That's in my head. That's what Bond is. That's what makes him so much different than everyone else in the spy game. Is that he definitely brings a whole different air to him that is so unique, and that's what watching those old Roger Moore and ones, and I like that feel.
Right.
You keep saying Roger Moore when
Well,
Sean
we'll
Connery
see.
is.
And Sean Connery as well. I like them both. I'm just saying, like, Roger Moore had a little bit more of that, like, I don't know. I love them both. I love both those.
I've
Sean
never heard
Connery's-
anyone talk about old Bond and be like Roger Moore. It's always Sean Connery.
It's Sean Connery.
I've never
yeah.
heard
It's
Roger
true.
Moore.
I'm just
I- I-
saying.
No, I know what you're talking about. But see, for me, that's with like Benedict Cumberbatch. See, what I would be excited if he were to do it. Yes, he doesn't look.
I really loved Val Kilmer as Batman.
Hey, man.
He doesn't. Yes, but like that with the same type of attitude you're talking about. Like Cumberbatch, he doesn't. Cumberbatch. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. If he doesn't look,
You can't pronounce anything right today.
he doesn't look that way. But I would be excited to see like how he can like really accomplish his goals, just using his smarts, his sophistication and use of words to swoon the women and just get out of situations, and maybe even a smarter Bond, like not necessarily so dependent on like all the technologies and Intel coming in, maybe can do things.
See, but then you also don't want. I mean, of course, you gotta stay updated to the times and everything, but at the same time, you have to keep your stuff that is James Bond.
Right.
So if you're gonna do all this different stuff, then just do a different movie that's not James Bond.
And going back to Fassbender for a second, he can have that grit behind him, that kind of edge, because he does play villains pretty well. I don't know how you guys feel about him in the X-Men movies, but
I think
Amazing.
I think
he's
he's
great.
a
he
high
can definitely
point
have
of
that grit
trilogy.
to him.
Oh, definitely, man.
Peace was never an option.
Oh, give me a couple more.
That's
You're just yelling.
All right. Now it's just
That
noise.
was in metal bending stuff. That's the term, right? Metal bending.
Okay, that's enough of that one. I'm gonna move this on now.
This no edit rule is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I love it.
Terrific.
Anyways, moving on. An experience that one of the Geek Down members partake in this weekend was John David out in the desert to listen to Childish Gambino.
Yeah, man.
Explain. This is a very unique experience from the ticketing to the event itself to.
It's kind of funny. This like whole experience from beginning to end has been like a love of technology in terms of like the way it's been marketed, and in terms of buying the ticket, it has to all be on this Pharaoh's app. You have to download a specific application to look for tickets, see what the event info is all about, and it wound up actually being the ticket in. You would actually have to charge your phone to get into this event. And then to the event itself, where you actually had to pocket your phone in these like weird pouches with like electromagnets. It was strange, but then in the show itself was wild. Childish Gambino, completely tribal in a 360 dome in the middle of Joshua Tree, visuals all over the dome, and I've never seen anything like this. This is like some pretty cool stuff. I couldn't tell if it was one projector in the middle of the room or 10 projectors all doing like some weird thing, but aliens and like skeletons dancing on the ceiling, flying through space, almost like in a Star Wars kind of hyperspace type of thing. It was strange. And the music itself is, if you're a Gambino fan...
And this was all new music,
This
correct?
is all new music. He didn't perform anything from the previous albums. Some of the people there were a little upset about that. But this album's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to kind of go into this Andre 3000 Love Below type of direction in terms of pulling back on the hip-hop, a lot of singing, a lot of great musical concepts, being played around with. And the show was wild. I've never seen anything like it. It was really interesting. And then, you're camping in Joshua Tree, too. The show ends, and he premiered 3 episodes of Atlanta at, like, a separate amphitheater. It was like a full-on Donald Glover love fest.
Experience.
Yeah, so if you're there, you were going to have a good time, and it was going to be either Gambino or Donald Glover, whatever persona you preferred. But you're a Childish Gambino.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, you've done it at a few concerts.
Yeah, I've seen him. I thought he was great the time that we've seen him. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it out for this event, but yeah, I'm excited to hear his new music and the direction you're saying he's going. Seems like that's
it was
where he's been going. He's been going in that direction for a while now.
Yeah, he's kind of getting more like, some out there with his concepts. And this concert itself was an out there concept. Forget the music, but it was $99, and you really don't know what you were going to get. We had no idea what was going to happen, what he was going to premiere.
And this was a one weekend thing. It's not something that he's going to be doing.
Yeah, he's actually got it was 5 shows between Friday and Sunday. And he has actually said these are going to be his only shows of 2016. He won't be performing at all until probably the new year when the album... I don't know when the album even premieres. That he hasn't released any timetable for
additional
that.
information.
But yeah, it was an out there concept, and it could have failed miserably in a few ways. But it seems like everything I've been, reading about, the only thing people are upset about is having to lock their phones away and, being unable to take videos of the event. Though for some reason, I guess some people still got some recordings out there.
That was a Chappelle thing. Chappelle was the first to start doing that.
With the cell phones?
The cell phone for recording and whatnot.
Well, we did go to a stand-up last year, I believe.
Of Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
That's right.
And yeah, they were very adamant that if you had to use your phone for any reason, get up out of your seat from your spot and you had to go.
They said go to the bathroom, and even then,
Yeah.
if you can't take one picture, if you pull your phone out, you're kicked out, and that was it. There's not going to be any second chances.
Yeah.
And something that Prince has been doing for when he was around in Los Angeles, you'd hear about these secret shows, and turn off your phone. But these guys at the Joshua Tree event literally took your phone, turned it off, put them in this weird pouch, and the name of the company who makes these pouches is escaping me. But it was kind of interesting seeing this technology utilized, and I'm sure you're going to see it more at like events like Comic-Con where secrecy is totally important. So yeah, it was a appreciation and decry from technology, and the music was good.
Nice. All right. So another musical themed experience that we went to this weekend was actually at the Hollywood Bowl for John Williams in concert. The man who's done music for so many movies that we love here at the show. Of course, Star Wars. He's worked with Spielberg on so many movies. Indiana Jones, Catch Me If You Can,
Jaws,
Minority Report,
Jurassic
Artificial
Park.
Intelligence. I mean, we could keep going. So many experiences. We all actually got to go. This was not something we had.
Yeah, it was full
Yeah.
Geek Down cast was in attendance. We had a good
You were
time.
there? You were there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Obviously, we weren't all together.
We were separated by a few aisles,
I
but
didn't know that. Oh, cool.
So many lightsabers in the crowd.
well, I mean, definitely disappointed in certain movies that they omitted from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was.
Indie, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, no.
Close
no
Encounters is...
It was a very different show. I had been a couple years ago, and it was a lot more montages or like small excerpts from films, but they would just do it all together and just kind of transition from one to the other. This year was a lot more, Star Wars than I remember the last experience. I'm sure maybe that has to do with Force Awakens and kind of renewed interest in Star Wars.
Sure.
They did a lot more non-John Williams stuff, which I was not really sure.
I don't know, was that
why.
sold when we were buying? Was that part of the advertising for the tickets? I thought it was just John Williams.
It is John Williams in concert. I mean, that's what the night's
but then
called.
we got there, they're like, we're starting off with...
I don't think anyone was expecting
a
to see.
whole scene from Star Trek.
Yeah, the whole scene from
The beginning of the second one, In Darkness.
Into Darkness.
Yes.
And then they did a Godfather little medley kind of thing, which is great. It's hard for me to complain about listening to music of The Godfather, but at the same time, I was waiting for John Williams' epic, Jurassic Park would have been. Oh my god,
Yeah.
all that. Jurassic Park, I mean, dun, 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 that epic kind of feel.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of hoping for, and John Williams really is like he's this, creates music to these amazing blockbusters that have, formed our early cinematic lives. So it was kind of a bummer to not hear indie.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to do at least indie.
Yeah.
I can understand leaving out Jaws because, I mean, after hearing
There's not
it could have been a
There's
short.
not much.
It didn't have to be a long segment.
It
It could have been a short thing.
literally, it could have been a medley at least. Like, cut out, because he did like 4 Star Wars things. I'm fine with Star Wars, but make a medley of all the Star Wars tracks, and then do like a
I
medley of
really
like the
wanted to hear
classics.
Jurassic Park too because I love that.
Jurassic Park definitely needed one.
Well, let me ask this, Garf. At your previous show, it seems like at this one wasn't a lot of visual components involved with some of the songs. Like maybe half the songs, there wasn't actually a scene from the movie going on in the background, which is kind of what I was kind of hoping for certain segments.
I do remember a lot more focused on like particular scenes, even if it wasn't a long section of a scene that they were like, okay, next we're gonna do young Indiana Jones, and the scene they would describe the scene and then, all right, let's do it. And then do that scene for a couple minutes, bam, there you go, up to the next one. Along with, like I said, some montage, more kind of things. So I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking about that myself. I mean, when they did like the Harry Potter one, they showed the person playing the piano and some shots of the orchestra, but no visuals with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely not sure.
It was
To be fair,
it was an interesting show.
The Harry Potter was an encore, as was Superman. So
it was?
that might not
I'm
have been.
sorry. Wait, did Star Wars at the end of it? Really?
Yeah,
It felt like
the
the end
show
of it.
was booked as like a Star Wars. Hear John Williams do Star Wars. At least that's the way it
Sure,
showed on our ticket.
I thought it was just a John Williams event.
Yeah, I thought it was just John Williams
It's
live.
Maestro at the movies, and then like it talked about the success of The Force Awakens and how it was going to be like Star Wars.
The
heavy.
Star Wars did not feel like did not feel like the end at all.
It
Everything
didn't
else-
even feel like they
he's also-
focused on that.
He's also quite old, so what, you saw him 5 years ago?
Probably like 4 years ago.
I mean, he's older. He's an
Well,
older
they
gentleman,
they
so.
brought another conductor out for the first few songs of the show, and I understand that using age as an excuse for John Williams, but then the show should be at least a celebration of John Williams' music. So
Have the
have another
music,
conductor
yeah.
perform the music of John Williams. I mean, skipping out on Indy and Jurassic seems like really big. Like, dang, like that band's not gonna play their greatest hits, really? Like,
Yeah.
even in the encore, like,
Yeah.
it seemed.
Oh, I agree. I'm just thinking of reasons why he didn't do a longer performance.
Well, no, you're right, but at the same time, have another conductor go up and do.
That
the
goes,
songs.
I remember listening to John Williams' score for Star Wars,
Yeah.
for
Oh,
Jaws,
I would have loved
and
that.
that's what got me to, part of what got my musical experience on this
Exactly.
track to become a composer, and then let me play it for you.
Even
And having the conductor do it in front of John
Exactly,
Williams, I mean,
yeah.
that kind of a cool moment.
Exactly, and like you said, Jaws. Yes, dun dun. But even if it was like a medley and they did just like that,
That could have been the very beginning
dun,
of the medley.
dun, 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 then medley into Superman, then into
Another
it could have
reason-
been a classic section.
Another reason he did the show 3 days in a row. I mean, for all we know, that the Jaws and Jurassic stuff could have been on Fridays and Saturdays, and they
See,
were just
I
kind of
don't know,
performing
because
it.
why would they change? They don't necessarily
bands
change.
just
How
like-
much would they
That's
change?
that's not true. Motley Crue, their last 3 shows were entirely different. I know it's different, but like
any
they played
fans
3 days in a row.
on the
No, no, no,
podcast?
no,
Any fans of
He
Fish?
laughed at me. So.
Bands change their set
Let's talk
list.
about
Yeah.
bands.
But do
I got you.
bands always leave out their biggest hit? I mean, I guess Radiohead with Creep, but I mean, everyone,
Well,
knows, that
that's
everyone knows
because-
that they don't do Creep.
Yeah,
but
that's.
Why don't they
that's-
do Creep?
They haven't done Creep in concert for like
I mean, I would
12 or
this year-
13 years.
This year they've done it once at the beginning,
And
of
that's
their
probably
tour.
been-
and it was like news on all the music sites. It was like, wow, Radiohead actually performed Creep. I guess some idiot on the balcony like kept screaming it like out loud, Creep, Creep, and it's like this is for the and then they
Those
so
were
this is
crazy
for the Creep in the
Because-
balcony.
Because the way that I forget the band leader's name, but Tom York especially just hated like, oh, everyone want to hear Creep at every show, and then that's it, like they're just gonna go away, and it's like, well, no, we're not.
They were a band that did not want to be defined by
one
their
song.
first radio hit, and
Yeah.
so they've done everything in their power to kind of like distance themselves from it. However, it seems weird that a band like Radiohead is constantly surprised at their fan base, because I know they've said that recently. Like, oh, we thought our fans wouldn't show up for this album. It just seems like there's
Yeah,
such a
I
disconnect
don't-
between him.
They
and,
annoy
yeah.
me as a band. I definitely like a lot of their songs and stuff and their music,
They
but
could
just
be-
them as a band
they're out
annoys
there.
the shit out of
No,
me.
I
Yeah.
totally agree, man. It's a little backwards.
Yeah, that's really silly.
Um,
But back to John Williams.
Yeah. Do we have a favorite John Williams movie?
Like
Anyone?
score
Or score, yeah.
score of a John.
Or should we do like a
Ooh.
score, a hit, like which one? Because there's so many.
Well, just you could do like top 3, or just your favorite, and then brief description of 2 after that.
All right, I'll go top 3. Imperial March #1.
We're going specific here. All right.
Yeah.
But
he's going that
why the
specific.
Imperial March specific, and then top 2,
Just
then the
be-
next 2 after.
Because it matches Vader perfectly for
Mhm.
the importance of the character, the mystique, like everything about Imperial March
Mhm.
mirrors how you
The-
how you
the
feel,
power.
yeah, and how you see Darth Vader in the original trilogy. Then I would go. I would probably go Jurassic Park. The theme when they finally see the dinosaurs, and for me it perfectly encapsulates how it would be if you like the
saw dinosaurs.
yeah it was so magical.
Because it's part of the music. Does even like if you think back when they first see the Brontosaurus, not even like the main theme, just if you watch a scene, there's like little musical cues, like,
Yeah.
like building up
There's
to
just,
that.
just such a
It's
slow
just a silent
build.
build to the all of a sudden da-na-na, and it's perfect.
Yeah,
It's-
it's mesmerizing.
Mhm.
And then I would go the Superman theme because
Oh,
he
so
caught the essence and
Of Superman.
character of
Mhm.
Superman better than anyone has ever done.
Yeah.
It's so hopeful and soaring and heroic, it would be like how you would see how like the Greeks probably thought of their pantheon of gods.
Exactly.
It perfectly captured the mythical, heroic, almost ancient type hero that Superman represents. Or there's just black and white, and he's this hopeful character.
The key thing with the Superman thing, I would say, is it embodies hope. Because if you just listen to it, it's one of those things. Could you imagine just you're down, you're and all of a sudden that I can't listen to that song and not be pumped up for the rest of the day. Just because it is, and it can be slowed down. It can be sped up for action scenes.
You'll like this. Hearing that made me dislike some of my arguments for BVS.
Because the music.
That music just reminded me of Christopher Reeve and how seeing Superman on screen used to feel.
Yeah.
And I longed for that Richard Donner-esque Superman.
Yeah, and minus, it doesn't, technology wise, the original Superman doesn't really hold up now, but back, if you hold that in your mind, imagine it back then, it's a solid, he's Christopher Reeve, the music, it was perfect.
What's the tagline for that movie? You'll
believe a man can fly.
And I don't think you could believe that unless John Williams' music is
exactly.
the soundtrack.
Perfect. Yeah. And for me, for my top three, I mean, in no particular order, but I agree. Superman, probably because Superman's one of my favorites, and again, exactly like you said, and you hear that music, it pumps you up. It represents Superman when he's flying. It can be slowed down for heartwarming music, sped up for action. It's great. After that, I really love from Star Wars, the Force. Da na 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 na.
It's true.
I would have picked that as well.
You hear that and you just go
and it makes you believe in magic, which is pretty much the
summoning
Force.
A power deep.
It's exactly if whenever that music comes on with every movie, I'm focused on whatever is gonna happen. If Yoda, I think that's the main time. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the main time that has come up?
Well, was it when Luke looks at the two?
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But even still, it's for important moments. He's longing for adventure. Yoda makes him believe that you can use the Force to do impossible things. Rey, when she's fighting Kylo Ren and she uses it, and nah. It could be the same thing like Superman if it's sped up or just slowed down. It's almost like when if it's slowed down, it's even with a better effect.
It represents the Star Wars universe better than any song.
Exactly. I mean, the main theme obviously gets you pumped, but that one, for me, is the heart and soul of Star Wars. It is the Force, which is what it binds us, it binds the whole movie together, I think is, besides the story and everything, but music-wise. And then, I love the Indiana Jones theme. This is a classic adventure theme. Again, I love Indiana Jones, and that's another one with Superman. It's just a classic adventure movie, and will get you really engrossed.
You're it gets you I'm ready to go on an adventure.
Exactly.
Right, I don't think there have been any songs that have been ever more stuck in my head. If I hear them once, for a week, I'll be hearing them just when I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Indiana Jones theme and the Superman theme.
Uh-huh.
I'll just hum that to myself for a week sometimes, just absent-minded.
Yeah,
and
John,
wonderful.
John Williams really captures with his music the whole sense of adventure.
Yeah,
perfectly in his music, and that's what I love most about him.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about my favorites already, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Indy for sure was just. It is adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime we go on an adventure, if we're in my car driving fast, I pretend I'm in the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
But and then Jurassic Park. I mean, just looking up at dinosaurs, which is such it's a silly concept, but it makes it so wow, that's how it would feel to look up at these monsters from millions of years ago. And I'll talk about Star Wars all day if we wanted to. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars piece?
Oh man, anything from the second half of Empire Strikes Back is gonna get me and put me in a place. In fact, some of the themes that they brought back for the Force Awakens trailer, I think it makes it one of the greatest movie trailers of all time, and I think most of that comes from the freaking music and the nostalgia from those movies.
Right.
I was talking with my girlfriend about how silly Episode 2 would have been had it not been for the John Williams soundtrack behind it.
Oh.
I think a lot of the Star Wars movies, think about just a New Hope or just Star Wars. I mean, it would be ridiculous without the John Williams score.
Yeah.
It's a lot of silly droids and aliens out there, but when you see Luke Skywalker for the first time, he's an annoying bratty kid, and you only kind of feel for him on like this human level when he is staring up at the two sons of the Tatooine system, and it's like, man, it's just it's a powerful feeling, and you immediately are on his level.
Right.
John Williams is the one composer where when I think of John Williams scores, I think of them on the same level as if I hear like Bach or Vivaldi.
I agree.
He's the only music composer. Other ones, I'm a fan of Hans Zimmer.
I think Hans Zimmer does
James
a lot
Newton
of
Howard
different stuff.
Does different stuff, but it's not the same type of. It's almost a mystique and almost a Victorian class to his scores that are just
I think that comes
elevate.
from him.
It elevates.
Well,
the
I truly
project.
think he embodies like a certain, like you already said it was Superman. It was like that's hope. That's like that hope.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Jones. That's adventure. Jaws. That's fucking horror, man.
Scary.
Good lord. That's that ominous feel. So he takes emotion and he completely and perfectly conveys that in a given score.
Mm-hmm. Garfield,
No,
what's you?
I'll do something a little different that we haven't. Harry Potter, I think, just you hear that and you just know it's magic. Like literally magic.
Mm-hmm.
We forget that John Williams did Harry Potter sometimes
I totally was reminded of that just when we went to go see it, because I did not remember that at all, just because I don't know, I never stood out to me that like, oh, who did this music, that I now the second you hear it you think of this whole world that's created that's beyond what we know.
And there's range there too that matches the movies in terms of Harry Potter 1. It's a little whimsical and it's bright and it's kind of like it is magic.
Captures the spirit of the book.
And then you go to Prisoner of Azkaban, and man, that music gets a little more ominous and a little darker, and there's a little twist to it. And it's I think he did the first 3, right?
Yeah, he did the first 3.
It's funny because before I even saw the Harry Potter movies, I heard the music. And I was like, oh, I wonder what this is for. And then, oh, this is Harry Potter. And it's like exactly what you said. Before even like knowing what it's attached to, it has that magical feel. It's really amazing how you can freaking do that with all of these movies.
It felt good celebrating him this weekend.
Yeah.
And kind of
E.T. too. Like,
E.T. also.
gosh,
It's hard picking with all E.T. is a great one. It's like that one is childlike wonder, like going on again adventure, but it's a childlike whimsical wonder,
I'm not that big on E.T. by the way. A little unpopular opinion.
You don't like E.T.?
Believe it or not.
Oh,
I think it's just okay. It never.
I love E.T.
Never did it for me.
Hurts my feelings.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
It does.
I thought you loved the 80s. Because if you don't like E.T., then you don't like the 80s.
Take him away. I'm like, oh, when he turns gray, wake him up. Oh man, how do you not?
I gotta rewatch it again.
I just gotta watch it, man. Yeah, I saw.
I'll saw it.
That's
As
a
a child,
sad
it
movie,
didn't
man.
connect with me.
And the
Did you
filmmaking
kill
is
puppies
great
as well, or like?
Yeah, the E.T. puppet is
No,
great.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's just like I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Right. I think you gotta watch it again.
Yeah.
Like me with Colin Farrell. You gotta
Yeah, it's totally the same.
It's on the same level.
Totally the same.
Like Colin Farrell, you gotta give E.T. a chance. You just gotta do it. You gave it a chance.
Oh,
I'll
whatever.
be right here.
Anyways, it felt good celebrating John Williams, especially when, like, with the exception of maybe Hans Zimmer, there's not really anyone else
No, you know what?
bringing it though.
I would compare not necessarily movie-wise. I agree with 100% movie-wise. But I've listened to some scores, I would say, from video games that would compare to not on a movie
Hans
level.
Zimmer has one of the best video game scores from the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, I'm not a big fan of the Call of Duty. I'm talking about
The story in that with the Hans Zimmer score in the back is amazing.
I believe you. Hans Zimmer is great. I loved Hans Zimmer for Lion King. The score for that is one of the greatest for me. My
Gladiator.
top 5.
His
of all
Gladiator
time.
score is amazing.
Yeah, he's great. But I'm like there's certain video game tracks I've heard orchestrated. They sound just as phenomenal as I would say for a John, almost as good as a John Williams score. Like I don't know if you've listened to the Super Mario Galaxy orchestrated music. That captures like the spirit of Mario, like and going on like galactic adventure, perfectly. And I could listen to that like all the time. And it's people overlook composing video game. It's like it's this video games are like a compilation of story. Acting, art, incorporating the character or the player into this art, and then music. It's compilation of so many great things that people overlook the music. When it's such a like the Zelda series, is such a music is such a huge part
The
of the Zelda series. You know,
the Ezio versions of the Assassin's Creed games had these really just soaring, beautiful scores behind them.
People overlook when you sit down and just listen to the music. It's really beautiful, and it just shows how important music is for whatever genre it is.
Yeah.
How great it is. But Garf, so you like Harry Potter? Is there any? What other two ones would you say?
I mean,
besides if there's anything
yeah,
that's not been said.
I'm trying to think right now. There's so many. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, obviously we covered a lot of the big ones that have become associated with more than just the movie, but with that idea and feeling that you get. And I think that's what a score is supposed to do. I mean, he does it the best, obviously.
And you know what? I'm glad they played Hook because.
Yeah.
Well, because earlier when Robin Williams passed away, they played Hook again. I never knew that John Williams did the score, and of course, I'm listening to Hook, thinking, "Oh, this music is great." Puts you again, captures the spirit of Peter Pan and flying. And then I found out at the end of the movie, John Williams did it. I'm like, "Oh, of course, another one of my great childhood music films." Of course he would do that movie.
I'm not big on Hook either.
What? No, you know what? I understand that. I like Hook,
Not big
but
on
I
Hook
understand why. But
Can I ask you? Did you like Neverending Story?
No, not really. Not like on everyone. Not on the level of like how everyone else sees
you
that
didn't
movie.
cry when the horse was in the trailer.
I don't know if I don't know if as a kid I made,
It was like the March of Sadness.
Yes, that was it. And the stupid horse wouldn't walk. He's like, "Come on!"
Artax.
No.
And the wolf, that terrifying wolf.
I put all those movies on like Labyrinth, Neverending Story.
Oh, Labyrinth is weird. Labyrinth's
weird. Neverending Story to me is special.
Special.
That and
Neverending Story 2?
No.
Land Before Time.
Land Before Time.
Land Before Time is great.
With
The first
Littlefoot.
one. Yeah.
The first one.
I'm not crazy about Land Before
First one is great. First one's great.
Kids would treat it like, oh, these are the
Didn't John
movies
Williams
of
do
all
that
time.
score too?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
For what movie?
For Land Before Time.
Land Before Time. Here, let me pull up his IMDb.
I was a big
I'm
Goonies
sure.
fan.
Goonies. Wait, did John Williams do Goonies too?
I don't know about that.
No, I don't think
No,
he did.
Spielberg produced it, but I don't think John Williams did the score.
When did Land Before Time come out?
Who did Back to the Future?
Not someone. It wasn't John Williams. It was somebody
No, it
else.
wasn't.
I got into an argument with someone over that. They swore it was John Williams. But no, that's the
No.
one thing I know. It wasn't. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but it wasn't.
I think Goonies was my favorite, like 80s, like adventure.
Oh, Goonies is great. Goonies is awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Gotta love that radio silence.
So what's your speaking of music? What about we talked about Superman and how John Williams nailed the Superman theme. How do we feel about recent superhero movies and their themes? Are they on par with that? Do they
I
capture the same
mean,
feeling.
There's only one theme to me, or one soundtrack that works as well. Well, that doesn't work as well, but is up to par, and that would be Hans Zimmer's Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises themes.
Definitely.
Those soundtracks.
Those are amazing.
Very
soundtracks.
kick-ass soundtracks. Yeah. Just capture the dark.
The dark
epicness.
The dark gothic nature of Batman.
He loves his blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Basically anything.
Thank you for
sorry.
that.
Basically anything Hans Zimmer does
Jesus
with
Christ.
Nolan, I hold really high.
Oh, it is. Everything he's done. Inception.
Yeah.
Oh, Interstellar. That
The music.
that
for
part when the
just
rockets were going and you have the organ that he. Oh my God! How epic can you get?
Love the music and the visual aspect of Interstellar, but we all know we've gotten into arguments about me and how the whole movie is. I think it has flaws, but overall, yes, the visual and music aspect of the movie is pretty kick-ass.
Yeah.
I think it's his weakest movie, but I still like it. As a
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
That is.
Yeah.
It's true.
I recently.
For a weak movie, that's a pretty great weak movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, as of like, I don't know when this movie came out, but I guess the more recent superhero movies, I like the Danny Elfman Spider-Man theme back in the day. I really thought that captured like a good.
Could you hum a little bit for me? Because I'm actually
That was
I'm
the-
really
that
having
was
trouble. Like,
and like that was terrible. I can't do all the instruments at once, but it had that like building. If someone could pull it up,
I'm
but-
pulling it up right now.
Okay, good.
I don't know. I thought it
Like
captured
it.
like the essence of Spider. It had that same epicness, but it was like, for me, it was like a spider building its web, you know. And
I feel you.
I personally really liked that, and I think since then, besides the Dark Knight movies, like I mean, the Avengers has their theme, but on an individual basis, I can't point out what's Thor's theme, what's Iron Man's theme, what's
Want to hear a confession? I really like Danny Elfman's Batman theme as well.
Daniel's Batman theme is really good too. I like that too. And I would say since then, with his recent onslaught of superhero movies besides the Batman ones, I can't really point out the main themes.
no, I think Marvel
Yeah.
sucks ass.
Yeah,
with,
it's true. I
yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Besides the Avengers.
Actually, Danny Elfman also did Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's a really tremendous.
Did you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's
no.
like the main thing that he did.
Wow.
He wrote it and he sings as Jack Skellington.
For me, Danny Elfman was always, here we go, here's Spider-Man.
I go. I can't hear it.
I'm just loading. Weak ass internet.
Oh, that's an ad.
Yeah.
The sound of buffering. Buffering.
Okay.
I like this.
I don't remember this yet.
Yeah,
Really?
This is Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
And this is the best Spider-Man. This is Spider-Man
Yeah.
2.
Oh,
It's great.
Yeah.
The first scene where you see Spider-Man like on the rooftops,
Yeah.
and he's swinging for the
All right,
first
we have
time.
to turn this off, otherwise YouTube will take us off when we upload this.
No, it's too muddled. We're talking over it. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
Spider-Man's probably the top of
The more recent ones.
X-Men's not bad. I like the recent X-Men theme.
I mean, it's good, but
With
it's
the-
not
with the
memorable,
work.
It's not catchy. It doesn't.
It almost
Yeah.
tries to be the
It tries to be
animated
too, yeah.
series too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, if they just did the animated series, that'd be. I don't know why they didn't do the.
Batman the Animated Series
Oh, that's another one.
has a tremendous.
Yeah.
dude, but Hans Zimmer did like the great. Was it the Mask?
Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, he
But
did
he
the
did a
music
remix
for
of
that.
that one. That was.
He did the music
cool.
from that, which I saw
Mhm.
maybe a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my god, he's been doing Batman for years now. Like, there's a reason why he already knew what he was
Right.
doing when he was going into the movies, because he had done work back then.
And what I love about his remix for the Mask of the Phantasm was like he kept the main melody of the show, which is great. I would argue is probably the best Batman theme in regards to like dark undertones, with like still making it epic.
Yeah.
But he keeps that, and if you listen, he makes it just more operatic. There's like a freaking opera behind all the tracks, and it just makes it so much more epic in a lot of these scenes. Like there's this, like at the end of spoiler alert for Mask of the Phantasm, where like Joker is like he's defeated, but like as chaos is going on, there's a fire, there's explosions, he's laughing maniacally, and the theme comes on with all this operatic music going on. It is so fucking cool. It's so epic, and I love what Hans Zimmer did for that movie.
You know, it's not a superhero movie, but Trent Reznor's soundtrack for The Social Network
oh, that
was
was
really
great.
incredible.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
I don't remember that one.
You should listen to it again.
I'll listen to
Yeah.
it.
You never do homework for this podcast,
I
Bob.
didn't know we were going to talk about the social network. We figured this out 5 minutes before we got on. Don't talk to me about homework. Get out of here.
Don't bring me down, man.
But Marvel is lacking with the
Marvel, it definitely. I can't
the
even.
music.
Does some of that come from, not that it should be an excuse, but just the fact that they're spewing out 3 of these movies a year at this point?
It
Is
could
it just
be.
like
I don't think that should really. I mean, it's
shouldn't
not like there's
affect-
only one or two. Like there's not enough
Yeah.
music composers to go around. Of course there is.
And I mean, if anything, all you have to do is make that main theme for Thor, and kind of like remix it a little bit during certain parts of the movie. But that would be their theme. It's not necessarily something you don't have to keep redoing Thor's theme throughout these movies. You
No, I
know,
feel you.
maybe the rest of the score, but.
I feel like they're missing on like the top composers too. They're not getting
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer. They're not getting Gianchino. They're not getting Silvestri. There are certain like.
You would think that they'd get John Williams though with their
Yeah.
control over
They've-
Star Wars.
They've
though.
done Silvestri. Silvestri did.
That's right. Silvestri
He did Captain America and the Avengers. I'm not sure anything else beyond Phase 1.
Oh, that would make sense why Avengers is the only one that has a semi-recognizable
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah, and that's really it was to me. It's really based on that moment where you finally get to see them all together and in action. But like that's the only thing literally I can connect it with.
It's the only thing. Well, yeah, and then
You have to. Iron Man doesn't use a soundtrack either. They
Uses
or a
AC/DC.
score. They use AC/DC.
Yeah.
So.
well, yeah, Marvel succeeds with Iron Man with AC/DC, and then of course
Guardians of the Galaxy was
would
big
not have
on
been
their
Guardians
mix.
without the
Right.
awesome mix
Yeah.
volume.
which
1.
it was a great soundtrack that they put
Great
together.
Yeah, so
But-
they've nailed music,
But not-
on a couple of movies,
Yes.
but not necessarily because of
The
their
theme.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear
Yeah, and then even then it's dependent because I mean you don't think I hear this song and I think
Yeah.
any word.
Guardians of
Because
the Galaxy.
Because I mean, I guess his main thing is the Iron Man song by Black Sabbath, but I wouldn't say that necessarily. Again,
Yeah, I wouldn't
it
even
doesn't
then.
count.
Yeah, I wouldn't even then connect that with a
And
certain
who would,
moment.
The
who
last
would you
two-
use? Who matches up with the type of mythical stature of Superman that you would want to bring John Williams in on the Marvel side?
I would say John Williams he's done it for so many movies. I think he can watch any of these and without a doubt.
I think
I'm not arguing about John Williams. I'm arguing
I think
about
we'd love John Williams.
them not
to do
having a
most
character
things.
that's worthy of John Williams.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
I think their one character they just got back, Spider-Man, would probably
I can
warrant
see
John
him
Williams.
doing Spider-Man.
They
He could do
almost-
something wonderful
Well,
with
they
that.
can almost rehash the Spider-Man from the first wave of films, the music.
I
That'd
would
be
be
cool
I'd
with
be fine
Danny
with Danny
Elfman.
Elfman doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect theme for him.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the next batch of Doctor Strange. I haven't heard anything about the music
I
though.
have no
They just
idea.
always seem to drop the ball on that.
Yeah, it's just not something that's been much of a focus. I feel.
I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman's theme.
You did love that.
her Wonder Woman
Is that
theme
the one?
from Batman vs Superman. I
It
liked
was
the most.
cool. It was cool.
But I don't
but
know if it matches
I don't know
her.
if it really matches her though.
We have to see. They're
Very,
really
very
playing
tribal.
up the Amazon tribal warlike nature. And I think it does capture that, but we didn't really see her tribal side.
I didn't
her
like the
Amazon
music.
side.
I like her music, but I didn't like it placed in BVS during the.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that.
you know what, I wouldn't even- I wouldn't
I'm
even-
done arguing for BVS.
I mean, I wouldn't even
There
say
you
that.
go. Have we finally broken him?
I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
well, I wouldn't even say
won.
that. I mean, she's part of a
You
tribe. I mean,
didn't
she's part of the. She's part of a tribe of Amazons, but it's all Greek. She's Greek based. She's if you go into the lore of it, I guess whatever it is, she's a descendant.
Oh, but the Amazons
Zeus
weren't
and-
Greek.
Well, I'm talking about.
They were-
They were
from-
more like Turkish than.
Well,
and I feel it does
I'm-
have that.
I'm talking about
I
in the
always thought
DC.
South America, but
I'm talking about DC. In the
That-
DC
that-
universe, they're based off of the Greek mythology.
the Greeks didn't know about South America, buddy.
isn't there the Amazonian River?
Amazon.
What?
Amazonian River. You just said Amazonian River.
Anyway,
The spirit is willing, with the body is
the flesh is weak.
and puffy.
I understand it, but like in the
Snoop?
base of the comics, it's not like you're right. But in the DC world, it's based off of the Greek mythology.
The
So-
Greek mythology was the Greek mythology. I'm going into history. It was Ionian Greeks, Turkish Greeks.
Yeah.
So they look like Turks. But yeah, it's the Greek mythology.
Yeah.
But the
So
Greek mythology was talking about Turkish
I would have liked more of I guess that like what you said with John Williams, like the Greek god or something like that. I felt like that would have fit more for Wonder
If
Woman.
they had
more
gotten
more.
John Williams for Wonder Woman, that would have been.
I feel
incredible.
like he could have gotten that. I feel like this is it's too
He would have gotten
like
that.
rocky.
I don't really like Junkie
it's too
XL. I
too
don't
much
like
electric
the-
guitar for her, and I don't think it really fits her.
I'm not
you
a
know?
huge fan of Junkie XL. I think he relies too much on the guitar
Yeah.
guitar chords.
It just doesn't. It
The
doesn't
driving
fit for
guitar
her.
just
Yeah.
it's
Maybe-
more
maybe-
too 90s for me.
Yeah,
almost.
maybe for
Yes.
Flash, I could see him having a guitar riff, but for Wonder Woman, no, she deserves an orchestra to really get the blood pumping. You know,
Did we like Junkie XL and Mad Max?
Yes, but that was different.
Yeah.
Matt, yeah,
tone
Mad
of
Max
the
was
movie is
completely
Yeah, that
different.
is 100%.
There is
you
no
have
hope in the
to.
Mad Max universe.
Yeah.
I love it.
But even still,
We know you love
he
it.
sprinkled in moments where there was the guitar, but then it was a lot of beautifully orchestrated
Yeah.
pieces for Mad Max. And then even in the last chase sequence, there are glimmers of hope when they're like, "Oh my God, we're gonna make it back to the Citadel," and there are glimmers of that. But I don't know. For Wonder Woman, it was too much just guitar,
Mm.
you know, and I just didn't. It doesn't for me. It didn't really fit for her. But We'll see. You're right. We'll see when the movie comes out. If it really
Comes
fits
back
right.
to DC.
And we
Every
can
time.
never stay away. Do you have anything you want to say, Adam?
Thanks for bouncing on your ball on.
No problem.
For those that don't know, Garf is sitting on a medicine ball right now and has been for all of our past.
I don't think they would ever
podcasts.
know.
He looks like Randy from South Park.
I can't see him. Oh, you look silly.
Thank you. It's the only chair here. It's not even a chair.
Yeah, fuck, you know.
Well, there's been some grumblings of like Brad Bird directing the next Superman. I think we should do like a fantasy cast of who would pick to direct the next Superman and why.
I just want.
And if you
good
want,
directors
I'll
to
go
stay away
first
from
on this
Superman. I feel like
And I'd really like to see them try and get Richard Donner out of retirement.
no, I would not.
This sounds
Brad
familiar.
Bird was The Incredibles, right?
An Incredible or Iron Giant. I'd really like Brad
Yeah,
Bird,
right.
but I'd really like for Richard Donner to be part of it, because after hearing the Superman theme again and being reawakened, I went home and stayed up late and watched the original Superman again, and just that feeling of hope. And
Would you like this Man of Steel 2 to be
Man of Tomorrow?
uh,
I would really like it
John
to be
Williams
Man of
and
Tomorrow
Richard
would be
Donner
cool.
coming back? I mean,
or that style, something more grandiose. Just
But do you
befitting
think it'll
of
be
Superman.
any clashing with the rest of the universe and how?
I don't think. I think the new Justice League is probably a soft reboot of the the DC universe. So I'd be fine. I wouldn't be upset if they brought in a colorful, smiling Henry Cavill for the next Superman. I think they could do that and earn goodwill, because I think that.
Damn it.
Right.
I knew that was going to happen. I saw it.
we'll fix it right now.
Oh, good. No editing, right?
Mic check.
Is it working?
Yeah, it was. Not anymore.
No edits, man.
No edits. We have a no edit rule. Sorry, my computer wasn't plugged in.
How does it sound?
Shitty.
Well, I wonder why.
All right, we got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
It was my power cord.
Oh, good.
We're back.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, saying, I really think that they can, if indeed Justice League is a soft reboot, they can do a more hopeful, grandiose, mythical Superman. And I think that a director like Brad Bird, with maybe some at least counsel from Richard Donner, they could really get the character the way it's supposed to be
I think Brad
portrayed.
would be able to do a great one, especially if he has experience with The Incredibles, which is a great superhero movie, great original superhero movie, and especially making a movie like that takes inspiration from a character like Superman. I think he can do it. But I'd be curious, with someone. I think J.J. Abrams would actually be able to pull something off like this. I mean, you took the Star Wars universe, besides the lens
I
flare.
mean, he did
has
did write a screenplay back in the early 2000s for Superman. That's something. So I mean, he does have experience working.
He has experience with taking these character or franchises, capturing like the spirit and like giving new breath to them, like he did with Star Trek, like he did with Star Wars. And I think, and he's a smart enough guy, director and writer, to where he can really write a great I would love to if they did a new version of Superman versus the Elite. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that was when it really plays into character of should Superman kill or not, and you get a group of villains who come out of nowhere, or so-called heroes. They start killing off villains. The world thinks, oh, you guys are right, you're finally doing the right thing and killing off villains. Superman thinks, no, you can't do that, because then who's to say who are the bad guys, who are the good guys? And it really, they don't want to spoil anything, but it really gets into Superman's character and why he chooses to hold back, and he really trusts in the justice system. Because if he wanted to, he could totally just decimate everyone and choose who's right, who's wrong, like what they do in Injustice in the video game. And that movie, that one comic, Superman, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, really encapsulates who Superman is. And I think that would be a great movie to do live action. I think J.J. Abrams would be a really
especially considering the killing that he did before.
Exactly. Well, I mean, for why he's against it in the first place. Maybe he can say now,
Yeah.
ever since then, I'm not going to do it anymore. And what I liked in Man of Steel was that even though he did it, you saw that he was
It tore him apart.
He was torn apart
Yeah,
by
yeah.
it.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
know what, I was watching Man of Steel again the other day. I liked Man of Steel.
Right? It's a good movie.
I think it's solid, and that's why I was disappointed with Batman v Superman, because I thought Man of Steel was a
It
solid.
was a good start.
It was a good.
I think that's
it
what
wasn't-
everyone-
It wasn't the best Superman movie, but it was a solid start.
And that's what I think everyone was so excited about
Yeah.
Batman v Superman. And then
yeah.
Batman v
Because
Superman.
even the action sequences in Man of Steel were. Who was the girl general who was part of the Kryptonian who was just badass, just wrecking.
Yeah.
The action
Feora.
sequences, yeah, they were like, yes, they were CGI, but they just flowed better in Man of Steel, and I was into it. And then just Man of Steel, or sorry, Batman v Superman, it was like a completely different sequence.
Snyder
It was-
also seemed, and this might have been Jonathan Nolan, but he seemed to understand the hopefulness when there's that flying scene. The scene where he learns to fly is one of the best superhero scenes of all time. It captures what that would be like. A man, you believe a man can fly. It
Yeah,
captures
and he's
that.
like he's even having trouble. Like he's like trying to do it, but then he lands again. He has to jump again, trying to just. And then he finally breaches what the atmosphere and is able to do it. It is really cool. And it was on that point, and even at the end of Man of Steel, he was like, when he was joking around with the military, he was getting towards that confident Superman of like,
Yeah.
just don't fuck with me, because you're not gonna find me. You're not gonna do it. I can fly faster than light or whatever. And you're not gonna do it. And then they forgot everything besides like the destruction of the city. They totally forgot all the character development of Superman.
I've thought about this a lot since I watched Man of Steel the other day as well, and I wish that BVS hadn't been made yet, because I think if you had given Henry Cavill a chance to, continue to earn the cape, and you saw like you said at the end of the movie, you see that evolution towards Clark Kent's, Man of Steel, and that, that smile and the confidence and the godlike manner. You see that developing, and I would have liked some in-depth exploration of the character,
Exactly.
for like a 3 movies.
Well, that's why you could have
trilogy.
you could have introduced the Justice League, at least before they fight each other. But what I hated was the introduction of Doomsday, because before you even get to really know Superman, you kill him off, and no one cares.
Because he's coming back, and that's,
Yeah, and it's like the whole thing was
considering how early in
Had they had 3 movies to develop, Man of Steel, Man of Tomorrow, and then Superman.
whatever happened to Man of Tomorrow, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
And at the end of the 3rd movie, you kill him off with
I wouldn't even
Doomsday.
say that. I would
Then
say
it would work.
I would have brought Doomsday, not even after the trilogy, after like a couple of Justice League movies, after Wonder Woman, Flash. It would have been down the line, because the whole thing with Doomsday was that Superman was this unstoppable force in the comics. No one could, even Lex Luthor, he always found a way to win. No one could stand up to him physically. Could never die, whereas other heroes were dying left and right and coming back. But all of a sudden they throw in Doomsday and he actually kills Superman in the comic book world. That was a huge fucking deal.
The thing too is the deaths weren't cheap in DC when Superman died.
Yeah.
It became cheap after Superman died because they brought him back.
Yeah.
But if the last major hero to be killed in the DC universe before Superman was the Flash, and he stayed dead until 2009.
Yeah, and Wally West took it. I wish they did more of that. Like
I do too.
They take up the mantle of it's the idea of a character that really carries on. But that's what with Batman v Superman they just kill him off, and I really wish they had saved that. But anyway, so
I was gonna say, like, I really like I do too. I wish they trusted the audience enough to let us love a new character playing the role.
love Superman
because we loved Wally West. We did when he took over for Barry Allen. And one of my favorite Batman arcs of the last 30 years was Batman and Robin with Dick Grayson, the original Robin, as Batman, and Damian Wayne as
and the roles
as
are
Robin.
reversed, where you get a
Roles
more
were
badass
reversed, yeah.
Robin and a more timid Batman.
And I wish that DC had been like, we trust that the audience, that our readers will believe this, and they'll trust us, and we're gonna keep Bruce Wayne dead. Because as much as I love Bruce Wayne as a character, he's done everything he can do as Batman. Let's see Dick Grayson carry the mantle. Let's see Damian Wayne evolve into the mantle. We can do that.
I would have loved
Trust
that.
us.
I would,
Trust us.
I would love that, but they're too afraid of change because there's too many people who are going to. It's me, it's Batman. Yeah, it'd be crazy. But
Well, and going back to Man of Steel too. I mean, George Miller. I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't we bring him on board in terms of a visual
That'd be
director that
interesting,
Warner Brothers loves, like
I want to get
Like
farther
Snyder.
away from Zack Snyder than George Miller.
say what?
I'd like to get further away from Zack Snyder than George Miller.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he just kicked ass with Mad Max. I mean, and he was hired to do the Justice League movie back in 2007, and which fell apart for reasons beyond George Miller. It was the writer's strike, and I think it was Australian tax credits that broke that movie. But I mean, it seems like a great way to maybe bridge Zack Snyder to, a better, phase of DC movies. I don't know. I think he would be a great choice. I mean, but so would Brad Bird, to tell you the truth.
To be fair, I think Zack Snyder gets Superman better than he gets Batman. This is Man of Steel, like you said, is a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But he lost the hope in Superman. I mean, I don't know. Did
And Batman
Zack
vs Superman,
Snyder
the
really
hope exists
Well,
in Man of Steel.
in Man of Steel, he's because he's like becoming Superman, discovering who he is at the end. It's like there was an idea that he's building towards that. He's like he just became Superman, and he's ready to build up that character. What was that?
Continue. We're stopping.
Anyway, it was
Be
like
professional.
it was building up towards that. And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree it wasn't as good as it can be, but it was supposed to lead up to that hopefulness where he evolves more confident, he gets as Superman and becoming an icon that people really look up to. Because you can't really be hopeful if the world is hating you.
The whole decision exactly to turn into where all of a sudden everyone's against him. It seemed too quick.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it's too quick. I would say that show the struggle with regardless of the world hating me, I know who I am. I need to represent this ideal of hope that no matter how hard it is, we can get through this. I'm here to help. You guys may hate me, but I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to stay positive and show you and prove to you that I can be trusted. And that was what the next movie was supposed to be, and they kind of just shrugged it off where he's like kind of confused. Oh, people are liking me. People are hating me. I don't know what to do. I'm so confused.
Is that your impression of it?
The impressions are getting worse and worse.
Superman.
But anyway, yeah, so it's like, again, it was leading up towards that, and it was kind of just shrugged aside in BVS, in my
I
opinion.
mean,
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it once, twice. What's the third
Thrice.
time that?
What about you, Garf? Who would you think would be?
I mean, there's plenty of good options. It's not lack of options. It's just where do they want to take it, and I think that's the decision that they have to make.
Well, let's say you're making the decision.
I don't know off the top of my head.
About.
I have nothing.
No, there it is.
There you go.
And there's the rub.
That was
You know what
your
I'm
one.
excited for to watch tomorrow, I guess? Atlanta. Atlanta's going to be a good show. Good scenes.
Some early reviews have been good.
That's the Childish Gambino
That's right.
show, right?
I love their use of
Donald Glover. that's
Donald
right,
Glover.
That's right.
Don Lover.
Don Lover.
Don. That doesn't matter.
Don Glover.
Don Lover. Or
His old
Glover?
Twitter handle was Don Glover, but it just looks like Dong Lover.
Oh, right.
You guys remember that?
No, I don't. I'm the Twitter. I'm on it all the time.
You're not on the Twitter.
No.
Yeah,
No
I like.
tweets.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I'm watching less and less stuff on TV outside of HBO because of my Apple TV. So I just finished watching Marco Polo, and I'm about to start Narcos season 2.
Oh, season 2. Yeah.
Narcos 2 started already?
Season 2 came
Yeah,
out this
season
Friday.
two.
Yeah.
I still
yeah.
didn't watch the first Narcos. Was
Very
Narcos
good.
really good?
Really good.
Really beautiful show.
I
too.
heard a cool comparison of the first season of Narcos stepped on Scorsese. I think that fit really well.
That's on there.
Yeah, I heard it's definitely an improved season 2 as well. Over
I
one.
thought season 1 was really good. So
You've heard reviews already for season 2?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have heard of reviews, and I heard they get more into Pablo Escobar's character and a little bit more focus on him and less on the DEA agents, what this review was saying was for them it was much more interesting to see a little more of the backstory and his character and everything, and because I mean, like, me too, when I was watching it, it's like I know everything that's gonna obviously what's gonna happen and how the story ends, but I know so much of the in-between story because I've seen so many documentaries.
Sure.
And I've read a lot of different articles about his life, and and how he changed everything. But it's, you know, so that the events aren't what's interesting in this story. It's the characters that really are. I mean, as I said, I know how it ends. We all know how it ends. So that's what they said they focus on more in the second season was the character of Pablo Escobar.
The actor that plays Pablo Escobar is incredible too. He's terrifying and cunning and brilliant. And
the actor was saying that he will never gain weight like this again. 'Cause he said something like 40 pounds.
Oh wow.
And he said it wrecked him. Gaining the weight and losing the weight again, it was just too much for him, and that
Yeah, it's
he won't
crazy.
do it.
He looks like a pear.
I'm kind of interested in the pacing of the second season, because if you guys watch the first season, that was in a span of years.
Yeah.
From
And-
his development as a crime boss in, was it Colombia?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But from the time he escapes, if you guys watch the first season, from the time he escapes the prison, he doesn't live that much longer.
And that's something
So,
I was
I
very
wonder if it's
curious
gonna-
about too, and I was surprised that they moved so fast through all this time. And then in my head I was like, wait, there's not that much more to go. It's the exact same thought I had. So
But
I mean,
it makes sense that now they're gonna probably slow the timeline down and focus on character. Well, we'll see though.
Something I really like about Netflix is that they don't care about getting the big rating like a cable company cares about. They
Wow.
just care, like, if they can get 5 million people to watch a show, that's 5 million people who are paying $50 or $10 a month or whatever it is. So, you know, you have these shows that serve a certain niche. Like, I really like Marco Polo. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but it's a really cool period piece about the Mongol Khans and obviously Marco Polo. And, you know, I really get a kick out of it. But the fact that there's a show like that, that really interests me, that serves, the period piece, the epic type of narrative that I'm searching for. It's really cool that Netflix has that.
Well, we were talking about this for a long time, and I guess at the beginning there was just like House of Cards and what was it? Orange is the New Black,
Orange is
I
the New
guess, was
Black,
like the next
yeah.
one that came out, and Arrested Development, they brought that back.
yeah.
But now I guess Netflix is at the point where there's like some whack-ass shows that they're putting on just so they can have that broad spectrum of quality, which I wouldn't think would be a good
Well,
thing.
I don't know if it's the broad spectrum of quality that they're looking for. It's the niche that
I think they were
Well, like
very
the-
aware of
the
the numbers.
yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
how would you explain Adam Sandler and his contract?
and you know
Because
what?
they know a certain amount of people will put that on. They'll be
And
like,
his-
oh, it's in the
yeah.
or that
background. it's
Ashton
Adam Sandler.
Kutcher
And
Western
for as much as
sitcom.
critically, the movies he's put on Netflix have been horrible.
Or also the
The
most
numbers
popular.
that have come out, they haven't said specific numbers, but they'll say in terms of like ranking almost, those movies are watched ridiculous amount of times in the first like 24, 48 hours. The numbers are huge for a movie like those that come out. So it's like they're seeing that and they're like, you know what? He's not making the best movies, but people are watching it. They have the niche, whether it be families or shows like you said, the Ashton Kutcher show that is definitely not like a broad audience show.
Full House.
There are some.
The squeakle.
What's cool about it
But
too is that
that one did really well as well.
Yeah.
they're letting artists take cool risks, like Aziz Ansari's show on
Oh, and Masters of None.
Masters of None.
I love that show.
is really good, and like there was,
That was
an
a
episode.
very good ending to the first season.
Yeah, that
It's like
season
you
finale.
really expect it.
Yeah, I didn't
I
expect
got
it to go
choked
down.
up and made me think, like, it's not what I would expect Aziz Ansari from Parks and Rec or the stand-up to be doing, and they said, yeah, do whatever you want to do. Give us your artistic vision. He puts
Yeah, and
something
I
that was
wasn't.
awesome.
I'm not personally haven't been the biggest fan of him, especially as stand-up. And I
Yeah.
like the Madison Square Garden one I
Yeah.
thought was horrible, but this one completely changed my view on him. And then the stand-up he did like right around the time that it came out, I actually like that one as well. And I think with him you've seen a progression
Growth.
of what he talks about and who he is. And in the show, I mean, it was deep.
Yeah.
It had so much like funny laughs and deep laughs and cheap laughs, and I mean, it just a little bit of everything.
Well, it shows
It was
that
real.
Netflix knows exactly what they're looking for, especially when you hear that Stranger Things was passed up by like every single network, and Netflix was the one to to keep the show as is. I think every other network was saying they were trying to write out the children
Yeah.
which was like an integral part of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But Netflix just lets them go for it. Run with
Let
your
him
show.
do something like Red Hot American Summer or Wet Hot American Summer. The
That was a
Netflix
lot
show.
of fun.
Yeah,
That
but
was
it's,
great.
it's totally different. It's
Yeah.
something that no other network would let you
Mhm.
risk like a 10-episode show on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to have Netflix is like HBO in the fact that they could, you can curse and you could show nudity and they're not really restricted by any censors.
Yeah.
And in terms of ratings, we don't really get any true ratings.
No,
I
they
think those
never
Adam
put-
Sandler numbers
they-
weren't really numbers. They just said it did great.
They
Basically,
did great, basically. Yeah, for them, it is the numbers are for them and them alone, and they don't need to justify to anybody why this show gets a second season and why this one doesn't, because they don't have advertisers that they have to let know, like,
Right.
hey, we have a lot of people who are gonna be watching this show, so you need to pay us more money.
Will it stay that way?
I mean, I just don't see any reason why. I mean, if anything, they're getting, because they are going international and they're going to so many markets, they're going to try to get even more shows that are niche shows that are going to get that particular audience in that country. And then once they get that country, and they're going to start focusing on different sections of that country. So I think even more they're going to be focusing on getting different parts of the market.
Well, let me ask this: with it being so successful, is this the death of basic cable, or
Yes.
I mean, why? The fact that it's still around is tripping me out.
I
mean,
think-
when you don't have to like.
There's nothing I watch on CBS, ABC, NBC that matches up to I can get on HBO Go. I can get or HBO Now. I can get on Netflix, Hulu. Like honestly, there hasn't been a quality show on like a network since Seinfeld.
Okay.
No, whoa,
I don't know if it'd be
about
Lost
that.
maybe Lost on ABC.
What about
Yeah.
Parks and Rec? Wasn't on Netflix. for-
Parks
It's
and
Channel
Rec,
4.
Office,
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
I mean, yeah, some
Yeah.
of
I
that.
don't know about
That's-
that's
yeah,
that's going pretty
that's a
far
broad
back.
statement.
But I'm not talking about like
the
I'm talking about, like-
technology is going in that direction.
It is
though.
because I agree with you. I mean, I really don't have a lot of time to like be sitting down and like I have to be home at this time to watch this show. But whereas with Netflix, that's the beauty of Netflix. It's like Stranger Things. Oh, I hear it's a great show. You guys are ahead of me, but what? I can go on my own time and watch it, and it's fucking easy. It's brilliant. You don't have to deal with the advertisements. You can.
I
get
think
these
one of
shows.
the things that kind of bums me out a little bit is I feel like we're losing a little bit of the discourse. Like back in the day, everyone used to have to look forward to Thursday night for Seinfeld.
Well, you still get that for
or
Game. I would
Tuesday
say
night
for
MASH.
Game of Thrones.
Well,
you
yeah,
get that
but
for Game of Thrones, but I'm
there's
talking-
limited
Well, I think-
shows that have that
it's,
kind of thing.
well,
now.
I think it's a good trade-off because the farther back you go in time, I mean, everyone really only had those few networks, so
True.
we
Yeah.
had less content to
Yeah.
really go through. And to a certain degree, if you're a fan of a certain show, I mean, you're part of that community. So if you're online or on Facebook kind of thing, like you're definitely still discussing a show together with
Yeah.
people. Just
I
it's
know
not
just a lot of stuff on TV just doesn't really match up. Other than FX and AMC, there just hasn't been the quality that's been out there to
No,
make me
I agree.
need to keep the cord around.
Like, yeah, but a lot of it is because the networks they want to go for the main money grabs, whereas with Netflix they have the freedom to really go for those the weird things, the niche things. The people stretch their artistic minds,
Mhm.
and that's what people want. And you can get it instantly. You can gorge on episodes and episodes at a time, and it's a really nice thing, and it offers like competitions. Like people want to do good quality things and put it on this platform where it's not about advertisement, but they just want to get their art out there. It's pretty.
I'm just waiting for the moment that ESPN breaks off from
Ooh.
cable.
Fuck ESPN.
Well,
They'll get zero of my dollars.
well, the moment that I'm able to watch live sports,
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily
can.
have to pay, using what the
MLB Network, the NBA package. You can buy your teams a la carte now. That was the Supreme Court ruling.
See, well, I can buy Dodgers off of MLB. I don't think
Mhm.
you can do that in Los Angeles.
No,
I
you
think there's-
can. It's part of the Supreme Court ruling. Next year you'll be able to.
Next year.
Mm-hmm.
Why next year?
You have to give time to implement. Like,
So
laws
that
and
$1 billion
stuff.
Time Warner deal is kind of compromised.
Kind of. Yeah.
well,
but
I mean,
it's no more
the
compromise
revenue
than
is still
that,
because MLB has to
pay for the right to stream.
yeah.
That's
But,
exciting.
I mean, the ESPN has an app on the Apple TV that you can get and watch sports live.
Don't you need to have a cable?
They have an a la carte version now as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, or you can do Sling, and Sling allows you to have an a la carte ESPN. The thing with my problem with ESPN is they become like Fox News. They're just a joke. Like everything is them pushing an agenda. Their NFL nut huggery is ridiculous. The fact that they don't cover sports like the NHL or it took them 15 years to finally cover MMA. Like they're just a joke. All they care about is the NFL, and everything else falls by the wayside. And now on my Apple TV, I can get Yahoo Sports. I can get, there's so much to consume that the old model is just dying a quick death.
I hope it dies a really quick death.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I was reading something that was just saying about, because there's just so many services now, though, if you were to get even just things to cover like live TV, Netflix, and couple, I mean, you end up paying just almost the same amount of money you are for cable. But for different, obviously, advantages that streaming has over cable. But, I mean, even now, a lot of people still have their cable, and then they have their Netflix. And then they have their HBO, or they have their Amazon Prime, and a lot of people have multiple things. I mean, Hulu doesn't even have a free tier anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I always hated Hulu.
Yeah.
I love Hulu.
Hulu,
Like
Hulu's
paying.
great.
At one point, I was paying to watch commercials. I think I was
You're not paying to watch commercials anymore. So
but both
Yeah.
packages. But actually, both packages you will come with commercials.
I don't have
They don't have-
advertising.
They don't
on
have.
mine.
Not all programs come completely commercial free.
I don't have any ads on mine. Just telling you.
I don't know, because I remember reading that they were gonna say when they switched from the no free.
They have Hulu advertising for shows on Hulu, but they don't have.
I mean, Netflix
They
doesn't
don't
have
have,
any
like,
advertising for other Netflix shows during your program.
Not even a banner going across the app, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never was on board with it, but
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Hulu as well. And I mean, Hulu is owned by Fox, NBC, Disney. So I mean, that is still the traditional cable companies that are putting that out there.
No, those are stations. Cable companies
Oh,
are,
well,
and those
but-
are the people. I
but
don't
they
care
have,
about cutting out Fox. What I care about is cutting out fucking Comcast or Time Warner or Verizon. Those people are fucking criminals.
Yeah.
I had
But-
Verizon back in New
But
Jersey. Terrible.
Comcast does actually own part of Hulu now, so they are covering themselves now, because that happened recently that they bought a portion of the company.
bring out the facts.
I'm just saying.
Bam.
No, no.
So I'm not a
That was
biggest.
good.
I'm not a big fan of Hulu.
So you got to do your homework, Bobby. That's how you.
Why is it always on me? Why is it on me? We decide all this 5 minutes before. No, no.
You have the least
Hey.
interesting things to say.
What are you talking? What do you mean?
All right,
Is that it,
I
buddy?
think we're calling it. We're good.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, we're set.
Yeah. What are we talking about next week? Probably Atlanta.
Well, let's force
Dolphins.
ourselves. Let's pick a movie and let's talk about it. Let's force ourselves. We're going to put it here on the podcast right now. We're going to force ourselves to watch a movie and discuss it next week.
No, I don't like that. Let's.
All right. What movie? Suggestions?
Come on, what you got?
I want to go Godfather after seeing
we-
the montage last night.
Oh,
Well, we just watched it like.
Can we
A week
talk
ago.
about maybe both movies?
Yeah.
That I can do because I want to.
Let's talk about Godfather 1 and 2.
Okay.
that. We can do because we just watched. We literally just watched one.
We just rewatched it like last week.
I still haven't seen the other one of them.
Oh. It's even more reason
Ooh.
for a person who doesn't know.
Yeah, you're doing
There's
the
so
homework
many
this time.
surprises. You're just waiting. Just
This
waiting.
is the only time there is homework to do.
And now you have homework.
Yeah.
Godfathers 1 and 2.
And you have it's
Well,
gonna
well-
take more than a few hours, so make sure you have.
I'll look up Spark Notes or something like that.
Spark Notes. How old are
What
you?
year is this? Oh God.
I always use
Jesus.
Pink Monkey.
I don't.
This is my pink monkey tonight.
Whoa.
It's gonna go milk the snake.
Oh man, I came
We're
back.
bringing it back. We have references.
Oh my God, you're the Jeff Van Gundy.
Oh,
I didn't even have to say it this time.
You did. I was
didn't
about
even
to
say
say
it.
it, and then I
So
stopped
close.
myself.
I was gonna let it go.
So
I was gonna let it die
close.
this week.
Did you forget, or did you just?
I was
you were firm?
just thinking. I was like, I'm gonna let it die. I've been
Oh.
forcing it. It's not funny.
Now that I've done it, it's gonna definitely die.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah, it's over.
And that's the end of that chapter.
Although milking the snake is a new thing.
That is definitely the new thing.
Oh yeah. So have you guys ever seen someone milk a snake before?
Have you
I'm
ever
about
seen
to go
someone
milk a snake right now.
fucking make chicken sandwich?
Yes.
Man, let's end it on Garth saying the F word on the podcast.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Your host Garfias, John David Rivera,
Yeah.
Bobby Dean Avila,
Yes.
and Adam Barajas. Thank you for joining us
See you guys next week.
on the Geek Down.
Ladies and gentlemen, time at the Regal. Young man went out and made a name for himself. He's been on every record-breaking show in the Regal Theater in the last 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, stop. Ladies and gentlemen.